This is Captain Rodney with West Texas Fishing Adventures. We run a guide service out of Lubbock, Texas. What I want to do today is show you how to tie a crappie jig. This is just going to be a basic little instructional video on how we tie crappie jigs that we use out on our guide when we're guiding for crappie fishing. Just some information if you're just getting into jig tying. Get you a vise. Here's a cheap vise right here. It's good to get started with. You get to tying for a while, go ahead and get you a better vise. Some of the tools that we use is going to be just a small pair of scissors, hemostats to hold your jig heads when you paint them. Also use this tool. It's a whip finishing tool. I'll show you how to use that after a while. And you need a bobbin, and on this bobbin here's our thread that we're going to use to tie with. Also, if we'll look up here, we've got various tail material. We got marabou, we got bucktail, we got squirrel tail, we've got hackle. We also have various different chenelles in different colors. This is what we use for body material. We also have, in these containers, are various colors of powder paint that we're going to use. So let's get we need to go over jig heads. We got various weights, different size hooks. You got your round heads here. We also have a shad head. We also have a craw head. There's various designs. If you're interested in the shad head or craw head, those are made by crazyanglertackle.com. Crazy Angler Tackle carries all your jig tying supplies that you're going to need. They do a good job for us. They actually is one of our sponsors for our guide service. They're quick on their shipments, and he's pretty much got everything that you're ever going to need for tying crappie jigs. So let's go ahead and get started. We're going to take this jig head right here, and we're going to actually powder coat it. For the heat source, we're going to use a heat gun. We'll get into more detail on some of the other videos on powder coating and everything. This is just going to be a basic instructional video here. In this container, we're going to use this powder. And it's already been, what we've done is just kind of fluffed it up by kind of rolling it with the lid on it. Let's go ahead, and what we're going to do is heat this head up. Once it's heated, dip it in your powder paint, and I'll return it to the heat for a second, and it gets a nice glaze on it. Now you can harden these by curing them in the oven after you do this for about 15 to 20 minutes. For this video, we're not going to get that involved. We're just going to show you the basic process. Go ahead and clamp it down in your vise. Let me turn this heat gun off where you don't have to listen to it. We're going to take our string, our thread here, and I like to start kind of at an angle and wrap towards the head. Once I get to the head, I start reversing that back. And I'll go back as far to a point where I'm about even with the tip of this hook right here. And I'll wind it forward. This little tag end right here, we're just going to snip off. Okay, first thing you want to tie in is your tail material. For this jig, we're just going to use some marabou. I'm going to just kind of get an idea of how much I want on there. We don't want it sticking out too far, so that looks pretty good to me. So we're just going to eyeball it. We're going to go ahead and kind of wrap it around the hook shank. I'm going to start tying it in. And you want to go all the way back to where you're even with the tip of that hook again. And stop. At that point, what I'm going to go ahead and do, I'm going to put some flash in this. This is just some tinsel material here. And what it does is, when light hits it in the water, it kind of acts as an attractant. we got different colors of flash. Now, you can space this out for this instructional video and get a couple more pieces. We are going to use about 5 or 6 pieces in here. Sometimes I don't use a whole lot of flash. For this, we're going to go ahead and use a little bit more. Sometimes I'll just use one piece. It just depends. And it's totally up to you. Now, you can wrap this around and space these out. You can get as creative as you want. I just usually lay them towards the back and they'll kind of fan out on their own. And that's pretty much got our flash tied in. If you get a long piece of flash, you can trim it. It's not going to hurt anything. The next thing you'll want to do is add your chenille. This is going to be your body material. As you can see, this goes pretty quick. Hardest thing is determining what color combinations you want to use. What I'm doing, I'm laying this chenille along the back of this hook shank there. And we're going to do just like we did before. We're going to tie it in. We go all the way back to where we're even with that hook point, and then we're going to come back forward to the head. We do that way you don't have too much body material past that hook point. That'll actually help your hookup ratios. We have more of a hook exposed that way. Now, as you can see here, all I'm doing is wrapping this chenille from back forward, and once you get it to where it's behind that head, take your thread, wrap it around, just one go, pull it tight, and just wrap it on that head. Now, you'll have this chenille cinched down really tight like you want at that point. Pull you out a little bit of thread. I'm going to use this whip finishing tool, and basically this is going to form our knot. If you want information on the whip finishing tool, you can look up the process on that on YouTube, or you can Google it, and there's some videos that you can see on how to use the whip finishing tool. It makes it real easy rather than tying it by hand. Now, last step, give it just a little dab of the head cement. Just kind of hold things together, make sure nothing comes unraveled. Now, real quick, let me take this out and show you what we have. Okay, that's all there is to it. This is a really nice crappie jig, good color combinations, good color to catch crappie on. Okay, just kind of give you an idea of some of the things that you can do with your crappie jigs. Right here, we have some jigs right here that we've tied up. You've got some basic, like a minnow type pattern, some of your browns and olive colors. You got some of your brighter pinks and chartreuse, your oranges and chartreuse. Here's a red and black. If you look in this jig bin over here, there's endless possibilities when you tie. Now, if you want to start participating in jig tying, or if you're already into jig tying, I recommend you go to and do jig swaps. You can go to TexasFishingForum.com, TexasBestFishing.com, and Crappie.com. Sign up for the jig swaps, and basically all you do is you tie X number of jigs and you send them off, and there's numerous people that participate. They do the same, and you swap jigs with each other. For your supplies, I recommend that you visit CrazyAngler.com. He's going to have all your jig tying materials that you need. Great guy, fast service, and this pretty much does it for the Jig Tying 101. Right here's your crappie jig. Simple, easy. Get the jig tying. Have a good day.